want to talk about a solution that is, well, hopefully, we never thought we'd need a solution from this, right? But here we are in 2024. And certainly in the last couple of weeks, we've had to tell you about private security groups, volunteers coming onto university campuses to protect Jews. Since October 7th, we've certainly seen the festering hate that has spread its tentacles across this country. And, we get a lot of political talk about hate having no place in this country. And yet all that was needed since October 7th was a scratch of the surface to allow it all to come pouring out all over the place. And it's not great. It's also very dangerous because, as you've heard many, many times, it starts with the Jews, but it doesn't stop there, right? Now there's an organization that has launched calling itself Allies for a Strong Canada, and it officially launches on Tuesday, and it is focused on non-Jews speaking out and coming forward to speak out against the rise of anti-Semitism. And one of the louder voices, certainly, who has been making his voice very well known since October 7th is someone you know, or certainly know of, Hillier, former Chief of Defense Staff for the Canadian Armed Forces, and he joins us now. Great to have you. It's been a very long time.
Alex, thank you. Glad to be with you today.
Why did you, you, I don't think even needed to be part of a group to speak out. You have been very consistent in your words, and you don't mince words as to what you're seeing and what you think about it. But why did you feel so strongly to come forward with this initiative?
Alex, thank you for saying that. Don't mince words. I'm not smart enough to try to sort of coat words with a sugar covering so people find them better or whatever. Look, I've been troubled recently by what I've seen in our country, by what I view as a descent into some chaos and somewhat a lawless society. And I watch the kind of demonstrations that take place that are fundamentally against our law. I watch the hatred that is manifested in the demonstrations, in the speeches, in the verbal attacks, in the attacks on Jewish businesses, schools, the blocking of a hospital. And I watch that and I see the absolute helplessness of our leaders who are either unwilling or unable to change it. And it really does cause me great concern. And I don't think it's acceptable for a nation like Canada. I've spent my life in uniform working with the most incredible sons and daughters of our country to stand up to hatred wherever we saw it across the world, to stand up to people like Milosevic and the haters in the former Republic of Yugoslavia, to stand up to the Taliban and those haters of women and those who are not them in Afghanistan. And now I think it's time to do it in Canada. This is, I think, something, Alex, I think this is a struggle for Canada. If this hatred is permitted to fester, to continue unabated, to grow, it will. And we need leadership to change it. And if I can do any little part in encouraging Canadians to provide that leadership themselves, then I will do that because I believe in country and I'm a proud Canadian and I don't want to see our country heading down into that abyss.
Oh, it is. It is in the abyss. It's at the bottom of the toilet, and I'm not sure why people are so shocked and or having such a hard time dealing with this because it's been out in the open since October 7th, loud and proud. It was there before. It's just once you actually just scratch the surface, it just explodes. Right? It's always been there. And hate does have a place here, very much entrenched here. And for all the outrage we heard about a former or a Nazi being applauded in our House of Commons, we've not heard that kind of outrage from leadership. I mean, Poilievre has been pretty consistent on it, but we really haven't seen any consistency in doing anything about it. And so I don't know how you undo this problem. I don't know how you get the genie back in this bottle because it's very clear we have a very big problem in this country with this kind of hate.
Alex, I think you can get the genie back in the bottle. Yes, I do think we have a problem with hatred. And like I say, I think this is an existential struggle for our country. We need, because hatred for one group, if it's unchecked, right, continues to fester, quickly morphs into hatred against other groups and all groups. And just think what kind of reaction we would have if we had seen the kind of hatred on university campuses and stopping and bullying and preventing Black Canadians, people of color from coming onto those campuses, or people who are obviously gay or lesbian from coming onto those campuses, or people who are First Nations. We would have a national outcry from our political leaders, and we need that same outcry right now. I think in part we're there because Canadians expect that the leaders we elect, that we vote for, are going to actually do the things that we elected them to do, provide that ethical leadership and to provide that society inside of which all Canadians can feel comfortable and thrive and raise their families and have a career and make their life better. And we expect that our police forces will uphold our laws and that our judges and our judicial system will then apply the appropriate punitions to people who break those laws. And we've seen none of that.
Right.
And all those leaders who have been saying, this is not my Canada. Well, guess what? This is our Canada. And now we need some action. So I think Canadians just need, if you will, a little elbow in the ribs gently to say, look, we've got to stand up. Or from just my own, talking to people, a vast majority of Canadians are disgusted by what we've seen. They don't like it. And I think one of the things that actually needs to change is us. We've got to stop using, I believe, that very polite term, anti-Semitism. This is hatred of Jews.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's raw and it's disgusting. And so I think the majority of Canadians are now starting to realize they're going to have to get engaged.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can't sit there on November 11th and wear poppies and say, lest we forget, and honor our fallen warriors, people like my grandfather, people like yourself, people who have given up their life to protect us. You can't stand there if you've sat back and remained silent since October 7th, right? It's just, it doesn't square. We promised that we would not forget, and we seem to have forgotten everything.
Look, and I think that's very true. And here's what I would say to that, I don't know, the silent majority of Canadians who are disgusted by this. I truly believe, look, get onto your political leaders, the one that count on you for their vote. Make sure that you contact them directly. Find their email, find their Instagram, find their Twitter accounts, go to their offices, telephone them, do it daily and let them know that this is not satisfactory and you want them to change. Get to the leaders of those parties and make sure that they are going to take the actions to stop that growing hatred and to stop the prejudice against a group of Canadians. Get at your political leaders that you have helped elect. Let them know this is not satisfactory. Get at your police forces. Come online. Phone them. Talk to them about enforcement of laws. Put the pressure on them. Get after our municipal leaders. I mean, look what happened in Toronto, and we watch it go unabated. And the rest of the citizens of Toronto end up having to sort of change their lives on a daily basis based on protests that are in support of Hamas. They're not in support of Palestinians. They're in support of Hamas. They're against Jews. And get on to those politicians. Let them know this is not satisfactory. And then go out and participate. When there's a march to say we support our Jewish brothers and sisters across our great nation, go out and show your support and show that the violence and the disgusting hatred of Jews in our country is simply not satisfactory and will not be tolerated.
Yeah, we're going into the high holidays in the next couple of weeks, and certainly the anniversary of October 7th. And really, there are a lot of Jews wondering, do I go to shul? Do I do my honoring of this year at the time of year? They're going to go out. There's a lot of questions about it. Just quickly before I let you go, if this is not reined in, if you don't see this start to see some real leadership, what's your concern?
My concern is we're going to have a tragedy. And if we have a tragedy, our political leaders who are in government are going to have to look in the mirror and realize that that will be their legacy. Our police forces who have not been enforcing the laws out there for one reason or another, I don't know what they are, those reasons, they're going to have to realize that that's going to be their legacy. That's going to be their failure. But our political leaders in particular are going to have to realize that's going to be their legacy forever. And that's what I'm worried about. I have my fingers crossed. I pray daily that this will never occur, but that is my greatest fear right now, because that hatred is out there. It's growing, it's festering, and some people perhaps who are more out on the edge than others can be unsettled by that and do things which could cause that tragedy. I hope it doesn't occur. I pray it doesn't occur. I'm worried that it might occur.
Me too. I so much appreciate your time and would love to have you back, but I thank you for coming on today.
Alex, thank you so much. I'd be delighted to come back. Just let me know when.
Oh, I will. Fantastic. Thank you.